rain. Flash flooding has been widespread. Tornado watches, deadly twisters over the past 4 days. Now things are winding down. We still have that threat for twisters across the deep south, the southeast and Gulf Coast through this afternoon and tonight.
Yesterday in Little Rock, there were wind gusts of nearly 70 miles per hour. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is heading to Washington as the world reacts to President Trump's sweeping new tariffs.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says he and President Trump are expected to talk about the hostages, Gaza, and tariffs. Netanyahu saying he's the first international leader to meet with the president on this issue, adding there is a very long line of leaders who want to do the same. I believe this reflects this personal relationship between the United States and Israel, which is so vital at this time. The president imposed a 17% tariff rate on Israel, even though Israel canceled all tariffs on U.S. products a day before the president made his announcement. The Wall Street Journal reports China had been one of those nations wanting to work with the president in the early days of his second term. The tone has shifted to anger, with Beijing slapping a retaliatory 34% tariff on U.S. goods.
Fox's Madeline Rivera. The maker of Jaguar and Land Rover will pause U.S. shipments this month as it deals with a new 25% import tax. The British automaker says the U.S. remains key for its brands. America's listening to Fox News.
From around the world,
Trey Yingst, joining us from Tel Aviv, Israel.
To Washington.
I'm Mike Emanuel.
To your own backyard. If a story impacts you or your wallet, we're on it. It's the Fox News Rundown. We give every story the deeper look it deserves with must-listen interviews and smart analysis from the voices you can trust. Start your day with the Fox News Rundown. Listen and follow now at foxnewsrundown.com or wherever you get your favorite podcasts. From the Fox News Podcasts Network.
Hey, this is Trey Gowdy, host of the Trey Gowdy Podcast. Every Tuesday, you'll hear what's on my mind. Plus, every Thursday, there's a special bonus episode where we answer the questions that are on your mind. Make sure to spend your Tuesdays and Thursdays with Trey. Subscribe now at foxnewspodcast.com or wherever you download podcasts. Hope to see you.
America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Be on the lookout. You got 42 degrees and cloudy skies in downtown Indy. I'm Jake McDaniel. Here's what's trending at 11:03. Severe storms, including tornadoes, have happened these past few days across the state. Light drizzle is expected throughout Indiana.
Pretty much been seeing rain since about Wednesday of last week. Like I said, we're going to see totals in some areas probably at least in the 6 to 7 inch range.
Earl Breon with the National Weather Service in Indianapolis says highs in the 40s throughout today, especially in the Indy metro area. State police say a man was shot and killed in Michigan City for running from police after he pulled over. It happened on South Franklin Street. Jorge Meza was taken to a hospital, but he did not survive. The officer who shot him was put on administrative leave. Shelbyville issued an evacuation order last Friday because of areas flooding. Many water levels are rising, including Walkerville, the Big Blue River South Side, and Walnut Grove Campground, which is off of London Road. And some residents were also affected in Franklin.
I have a disabled mother in here. I have a disabled son in here. So being without hot water and heat, it's a real challenge.
Rebecca White is a resident in Johnson County, and she tells Wish TV some people have been without power and heat for over 24 hours. And the average price for gas in Indiana is $3.27 a gallon today, and the cheapest gas is in Sheridan at $2.62. Here's your forecast from the American Standard Cooling Weather Center.
Light on-off scattered showers are expected for today. Additional rainfall numbers won't be as impressive as previous days. High temperatures in the mid-40s. Tonight, clouds decrease. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Ryan Morse for 93 WIBC.
I'm Jake McDaniel, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
What's one of the best ways for students to learn the value of teamwork?
By participating in high school sports. I'm Jace Martin from North Harrison High School.
And I'm Danae Klein from South Putnam High School. Playing high school sports means being a part of something bigger than myself.
I love working together with my teammates towards a common goal.
It keeps me accountable, knowing my team is depending on me.
It reminds me to prioritize the team's success over my own.
Because it's about we, not me, and that's an important lesson to learn. on the field and in life.
As teammates, we train together, we push each other, and we represent our school together. That bonds us forever.
We're a team, and that means we're in this together.
I'm IHSAA Commissioner Paul Neidig. You can be a champion of high school sports by buying a ticket to your high school's athletic events. This is the power of teamwork. This is coming together as one. This is your IHSAA.
Good morning to you. It is 11:06, and this is the first day on 93 WIBC, April 6th. I know a lot of you are challenged today in the sense of the flooding that is going on is incredible. It is and dangerous and deadly.
The creeks are up. They're not over the banks like they were 7-8 years ago, but they're still up.
Looks like, as I look at the travel advisors, Owen County and Morgan County still under that red. And the red means that's the highest level of local travel advisory. I'm headed down that way today, but we'll just have to see how that goes. But Marion County, all clear when it comes to, I mean, I know there's still some flooding around, but then all around us, Hancock, Hamilton, what else? Johnson, as we've heard, Franklin in some bad shape. Brown County, heard some terrible stories about Brown County and what's going on down there. Bartholomew.
Are you Washington County? I'm trying to remember what county you are. Down home.
I'm still, Washington County.
Washington.
Yeah.
They flooding?
Man, we need a kayak. We sold ours a couple years ago, and we shouldn't have. We should have kept it.
Washington County's under the watch, and they're in the orange, if you are one that looks at colors. Orange. Okay. But anyway, not a laughing matter for sure. And it has been very dangerous. And at least at the moment here in Indianapolis, looks like we're at least dry at the moment. No rain coming down. This is a pretty cool day for us because as you have been experiencing a rough week, we have 35,000 heroes in town this week. Yep, Fire Department Instructors Conference, the FDIC International, and stopping by for a visit is IFD Media Relations Battalion Chief Rita Reith is here.
Rita. Yeah.
Hey. She's on the camera. And she doesn't have her big hat on.
She brought her parole officer with her.
She did.
Yeah, all the way from Atlanta.
Editor-in-Chief for Fire and Rescue Media and the Education Director for FDIC, Chief David Rhodes. You look good.
Thank you.
How you
very
feel?
Much. And you guys welcomed the Georgia boy with the Allman Brothers.
Yeah.
That was planned, right?
If you will pull up YouTube,
Good job, Kielynn.
the first day on YouTube, you'll be able to see this skinny man. How much have you lost, brother?
About 27 right now.
You're looking good. I noticed it in the neck. You look good there.
Going to try to do about another 5 or 6.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you're here, and I know you brought 35,000 of your friends.
Closest friends.
And they are friends. There is a real brotherhood, sisterhood among firefighters, and you see it while they're all here. And for anybody that doesn't know, I mean, once again, you're here. This is the 98th year for the conference. For us, it's 31 years. Why is Indy such a great spot for you all?
It's a great location. It's somewhat central to about 80% of the nation's firefighters are within about a 4 to 6 hour drive. So that helps out. And then we've been here now, like you said, 31 years. Just the support we get from the local area is just...
Whoa, we just went down.
Wait just a minute. Hold on, we lost your voice.
So
there we go.
Just the support we get from the local areas, obviously the city of Indianapolis, all the townships that's around. We have a large footprint. Our training footprint goes all the way to Champaign, Illinois.
Oh, wow.
So there's a lot of logistics involved, a lot of sites, a lot of coordination, working with Rita and the Indy team pretty much year-round to make sure that we're able to pull this thing off.
Yeah.
And there's several components. You've got the education component, pre-conference Monday, Tuesday with all the hands-on training where the guys are actually learning how to rescue people from cars, fight fires. We're lighting things, we're lighting buildings and acquired structures and training centers on fire to have them practice search and rescue. And then we've got the classroom part of education and then the huge 870-something exhibitors. So the whole industry comes here, and it's just phenomenal. So many inventions have been created on napkins in the restaurants and bars.
Is that right?
That turn out to be products.
They really did?
Yes, absolutely. And improvements, I mean, it happens every year. We're like, hey, some of the instructors came up and we were talking about it. So we've launched this new product.
Yeah.
And our exhibitors, they'll hold on to a product to launch it at FDIC. It's that big. So it's awesome.
Let's talk about that for a minute.
Sure.
But I do want to Rita write this here, as we mentioned. Battalion Chief IFD is the host and has been for quite some time. What is the host responsibility?
So we take the lead in managing all the resources from the community, from the different fire departments that are bringing personnel, equipment, resources, expertise, anything that FDIC needs. One of our folks kind of takes the lead in managing the coordination of all of that.
And that's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot.
big.
And it's a year-round project. So IFD has a pretty large contingent of resources that we provide, both in personnel and apparatus and, all of the things. But then again, we also have so many from throughout the state of Indiana that want to participate, and it's gotten bigger and bigger every year. So that's really been great.
We got a lot of heroes here, and Denny, you got your mic back here in just 1 second. I just want to find out about we've had terrible flooding around our country right now, and I'm wondering how many firefighters, how many first responders couldn't make it or had to change plans because they're back home, because we've got some pretty awful situations around us right now.
We haven't heard of any.
Oh, wait a minute. Mike's not working yet.
No, we're back in business.
We're back in business.
We haven't heard of any, but it's like WKRP. in Cincinnati.
No, you had to go there, didn't you, Rhodes? Boy.
I always wanted to be Dr. Johnny Fever and spend the midnight hour.
We invite him in the studio, and here we go.
I know it. But we've got, it's pretty awful situations right now. Do you educate on, I guess we call it search and rescue when it comes to flooding right here now?
We actually have a hands-on class in water rescue that'll be taking place out at the Ben Davis High School pool this year. So they're teaching, how to remove people from the water, how to do CPR in the water, and all of the, things that go along with water rescue. We're hoping, according to the mayor and the Visit Indy Council, at some point over the next 4 or 5 years, there may be a whitewater park off of the White River that's sort of a man-made, gated. And once we get that, then we'll have full-blown swift water.
So do the firefighters bring in their own equipment, their own pontoon boats, their own salvage, scavenging boats, or do you guys supply all those, Rita? Who supplies all that gear?
Well, FDIC has some really great partnerships with vendors that that are willing to bring in equipment, because it's a good opportunity for them to get positive or negative feedback from the people using it. And again, what Dave was talking about, improvements and developments that have happened on napkins and, throughout the conference and as people are chatting, some of that comes out of the feedback that they get at the hot classes while they're using the equipment, and that's in part, the vendors want to showcase their product so that departments might buy it, but they also need feedback into, okay, is this really working well for what you guys need? Because the boots on the ground.
What does hot mean, Rita? Does that mean hot like fire hot, or does that mean live fire?
Hands-on training.
Hands-on training.
Hands-on training.
It's okay.
Did you see that?
He is not feeling hot.
Oh, I've been friends with this woman. She just zings me like that. Oh, my God.
Hands-on training.
Hands-on training.
For some, it means other things, but for us, it's
hot instructors.
Hot instructors. Right.
Yeah, that's what.
That's okay.
All right, we're gonna take a break. When we come back, I do want to talk about the health of firefighters. I heard this morning and saw this morning on Fox 59. In fact, State Fire Marshal Steve Jones talking about cancer awareness. Still the number one cause of death among firefighters. And we'll talk about what is out there looking to improve their health when they go to these scenes and bringing in perhaps more toxic air than they maybe could if there was a better way. We'll talk about that when we come back. It's the first day, 93 WIBC.
Matt Bear knows how to break the traffic press.
I-70 is packed tight. There's a
11:20 on a Sunday morning. We're rain-free downtown Indianapolis. The skies are even kind of getting brighter.
You are so bold to say we are rain-free. Are you
At
crazy?
this point on the circle right now.
Oh, I know, but it's going to start raining when you say stuff like that.
Okay, knock on wood, everybody. It's Terri and Denny and Kielynn, and we're glad you're here with us on First Day. We've got 35,000 heroes that are descending. No, is it descending? Yeah, no, or ascending. No, ascending is up.
Descending.
Descending.
If they're going up the stairs, they're ascending.
Look at this. Atlanta, all the way from Atlanta, and we got
I'd be a good firefighter
library
at
in
night.
here. That's right. But anyway,
yes.
Chief David Rhodes from Atlanta
He's here.
Fire is here, and Rita Reith, the battalion chief.
As we get set for FDIC, in fact, it's international, and it is the Fire Department Instructors Conference. Before we took a break, there's a couple of topics I wanted to talk about, and that is, first and foremost, I saw this morning on Fox 59, if you're just joining us, I saw Indiana State Fire Marshal Steve Jones talking about cancer awareness among firefighters, still the leading cause of. Is this something that you do talk about within the conference, our firefighters and their health?
Absolutely. We actually have an entire brand dedicated to nothing but firefighter health and wellness. It's called Firefighter Nation, and in Lucas Oil Stadium will be the Firefighter Nation Health and Wellness area. We'll be doing cancer screenings. We'll be talking about cancer. Last year, I told a personal story about having a little skin bump on my face that turned out to be, you can probably see the scar right there. Obviously, it was very common and very lucky to catch it. And then Mike Champo, who's our keynote speaker, is a 9/11 FDNY firefighter who had throat cancer, and he talked about his story. So one of the new things this year is we've partnered with the Firefighter Cancer Support Network and a company called Redline Mobile Gear Cleaning. And instead of these firefighters having to take their dirty gear from training all day back to their hotel room where it off-gasses, we're actually storing it and cleaning it for them this year. And this is a logistical feat. It's like 900 sets of gear that we're turning over, overnight.
That's just not
to get
washing
back
it down
to
with a
them.
hose.
Well,
is it?
While they're in training, they won't wash it until they're done Tuesday night.
Okay.
Because it's just not enough time to do 1,000 sets. Yeah. But what we do rinse it off on scene and brush it off, and then we contain it in a clear bag and then put it inside a gear bag.
It's a whole nother part of it. I had no idea.
Yeah, and at the fire stations, they don't let you. We wore our gear everywhere, bunk room, kitchen, whatever. Now there's signs everywhere. The gear doesn't come out of the apparatus bay.
Terry, the building codes changed in the 60s and 70s, and we went to lighter weights, which were plastics, ABS, acrylobutylstyrenes. We went to plumbing, CPVC, chlorinated polyvinyl chlorine, and now we're in PEX, and all of those things, when they come up to temperature, they off-gas. Terrible. They'll kill you sitting down, and Dave was telling us a story about the fires in Las Vegas. Is that where it was?
Yeah, well, MGM Grand was one. There's been several. One of the big one that got a lot of firefighters was the telephone, the AT&T building in New York.
Wow.
And I think, it was over 100 died from cancer down the road that were exposed to those plastics burning. So we know it's a problem.
It's the affordability issue in building, but there is a downside, and you guys are carrying the load, unfortunately. But thankfully, you have your breathing apparatuses, which you didn't have in the 60s and 70s.
Correct. So. There are some issues with skin absorption that we're still researching, and there's a lot of great organizations out there that are leading the way in knowing what cancers. We're about 9% more vulnerable in certain types of cancers, but it's definitely something that we're aware of. They're researching, and then obviously we're taking preventative measures. And one of the best ones is, after a fire, take a shower. Don't walk around in your dirty gear.
That's a good idea anyway.
Yeah, that is a good idea anyway. Let me ask this one question. Maybe you guys can stick around a little longer, because I know Denny and Kielynn both have questions, and I'm kind of hogging the mic. But early March, there were some reports that the National Fire Academy classes have been canceled amid a review by this administration. And I'm kind of wondering, Dave, what the response has been among firefighters and fire departments around the country, and maybe how does that affect fire departments?
Yeah, it's the National Fire Academy up in Emmitsburg, probably one of the more beautiful places around. That's a national place. It's right there at Camp David almost. And with the scrutiny that FEMA is getting right now. I don't think it was any thing directly at the fire academy. It's just part of the overall trying to get spending, spending under control. And there's a group, mainly the fire chiefs. It's more of an executive leadership type place to go, so there's more fire chiefs, so the firefighters aren't necessarily grabbing the pitchforks and protesting and demanding that it open yet, because they just don't use it as much as more of the chief level officers. But that's where it's kind of like the college for the fire service, I guess, for the executive level and battalion level. But I think, unfortunately, it's one of those things that, like, I say it all the time, don't kick the can down the road. And if you do, it's going to hurt when you finally got to pick the can up. And so I don't think it's going to remain closed. I think it'll be under deep scrutiny. I think there's going to be a lot of cuts across FEMA. But I actually am optimistic that we're going to have more resources for the fire service when it's all over. So it's temporary pain. Sure. I have no insight other than just a few organizations that I've talked to that have said, hey, we're assured that in the end, we're going to be okay. So short-term pain, hopefully long-term gain.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you for answering that question. Denny?
I have a friend who's just getting out of the Marine Corps, and a lot of the times guys get out of the Corps, they get out of the service. Ladies, they want to think about going into the trades. I'm asking about firefighting.
Absolutely.
Are we starting to see, people gravitating to you for a career?
Well, interestingly enough, we've had some problems, just like the military, with recruitment and retention. I'm talking about that in my keynote on Wednesday, actually. And, two separate problems. Recruitment's one problem, retention's the other. So we do get a lot of military because it's just part of that teamwork atmosphere. A lot of military medics come in that have, battle tested, and then you get a lot of folks that just want to stay in that type of environment. So we do see a lot, but overall, the whole country recruiting is down a little bit.
Kids are listening, Dave and Rita, what should they focus on in order to qualify? Is it about physical fitness? Is it about an intelligence quotient? What is
That's an important start, is physical fitness. And so, seek out any department that's hiring. It's very competitive. So picking one department and only applying to that department is probably not going to get you there. I would apply to any department that's hiring. Stay in physical shape. Do anything you can to research what it is you're getting yourself into, because there's a lot of layers to being in the fire service that people don't realize. We do a lot of EMT, a lot of medical work. We do a lot of special operations, rescue type work. And if you don't understand the broad requirements that the fire service requires, you may be surprised by what you're getting into. So research.
Can you stick around for just a little bit longer? We're going to get into a news break. Is that okay?
Absolutely.
But you can stick around for a few minutes? Okay, let's take a break, Kielynn. And when we come back, more with IFD Media Relations Battalion Chief Rita Reith and Editor-in-Chief for Fire and Rescue Media and the Education Director for FDIC, Chief David Rhodes. Glad you're here with us on First Day. News is coming up next on 93 WIBC.
You love
7:34. You've been seeing the signs in downtown Indianapolis. The Fire Department Instructors Conference, FDIC International, is back this week. Starts tomorrow and goes for a few days. And we've got 35,000 heroes in town for some learning, for some burning, learning and burning. And really is about education. It's about networking. It's about all kinds of stuff. Thank you for sticking around with us. For those of you that are listening, and also our thanks to IFD Media Relations Battalion Chief Rita Reith, who's here if you're just joining us, and also Editor-in-Chief for Fire and Rescue Media, and the Education Director for FDIC, Chief David Rhodes. Thank you for sticking around. Glad you're here. I had a question for you. But before I get to that one, what was it? It was a good question. Well, it's about the inventions. And I know you can't go through all the different things, but there are so many vendors at this show and conference. What is it that you see that you think, this is pretty cool?
They come and, what do they say? Have both your ears open and your mouth closed. So they listen to the firefighters that use the products in their conversations, and they take notes, and they go back and make modifications. And companies are in business to solve problems, and when you come up with something that solves a problem in the fire service, it's going to be a popular deal. So I've seen modifications to nozzles, modifications to fire trucks, drastic improvements in gear. So like when Rita came on, she probably had to wear men's boots. And what do you wear, like a 4? No.
Yeah. An 8.5, but thanks, Dave.
I'm surprised they got a hat that'll halfway fit her.
None of
the
derogatory, Dave.
My helmet is huge, right?
None of the gear would fit. And so, like, within just the last 5 years, has been gear that actually is made to fit the people that are working at the fire department. So
that seems so minor, but it's a big deal.
It's a big deal.
Well, of course, the fire service forever was 99% male, but there's probably, I think it's still low, but it's 6% sound right?
Yeah.
There's a women's conference a part of it, right? There's a women's conference a part of the conference.
Yes.
For women firefighters.
Yes.
So changes in gloves, helmets, materials, the breathability of the gear. We've gone from rubber type coats that would melt in the fires today to this breathable high-tech material. Some of the stuff comes from like space research. Our breathing apparatus that we wear came from the space program as part of that, and there's been modifications to that. We have thermal imaging cameras now. We can see through smoke where we couldn't when we both came on. And
they have like what do you call it? The oxygen mask for even that fit pets now for animals.
Wow. We're lucky enough. We're getting a third segment here, and I just thought my nickname's Rhodey. You're Rita, so we could just call this the Rhodey and Rita show.
You had that all planned.
Well, Dave, you should talk about the technology with the drones and how that helps incident command
and AI, right?
Well, and just the PASS devices. We can now follow a firefighter as they're going through the building, so that we don't, if they get lost or injured or something, they can literally pinpoint where that person is. So we have better rapid extrication techniques should we need that. But the drone thing's pretty huge anymore.
We actually introduced this year a technology summit within the conference, and they're going to be out at IFD training on Wednesday with several products. One of them tracks the firefighters, which we've had tracking capability for a while, but it was on a flat plane. Now we got the X and Y axis. So if I've got that building plan out there that's 36 floors, command can look and see, okay, I've got 3 firefighters on the 26th floor.
Terry, what that means is that horizontal, rotational, three-dimensional zooming, they can look at the building and know where every firefighter is. It's really cool. No, I'm not mansplaining. I just think it's really neat. And do you know who invented that? Disney. Honestly,
they did?
Is that right?
Yeah,
really?
Disney invented that technology back in the 60s and 70s.
That's cool.
It is really cool.
That is cool.
Yeah, I didn't mean to mansplain. I mean, you're smarter than I am. What do I always tell you? Men are stupid. Learn to work around it.
I think it. No, thank you, Denny.
Yeah.
Firefighters, many of them are the best chefs.
Absolutely.
That is 100% accurate.
That is 100%. Yeah. They are the best cooks in all the land.
Some of them.
No, right. Not every one of them, but each department usually has one or two guys and gals that are they kind of the designated. They're cooking the dinner, the lunch, the whatever it is they're cooking.
They always smell like garlic.
Well, I don't know about that.
Right.
But so Dave, best meal you ever had at a firehouse?
Probably like smoked chicken fettuccine with.
They're eating good.
Romano cheese, some kind of big.
Kielynn, you got to get into the fire service.
Oh my gosh,
it's
if
good.
that doesn't sell it.
And then I've had really good simple stuff too. We used to call them number 1, number 2, number 3. It would be like hamburger steak, mashed potatoes, green beans.
Ooh, yum.
And
That's my kind of meal.
That's my kind of meal too. Yeah.
It depends on how much money you have.
Oh, we lost you again.
We lost you again. Rita, for you, best meal you ever had at a firehouse?
You know, I'm a basic. Tomato soup and grilled
Ham
cheese.
sandwich.
Yeah. But you know what was funny is when I very first came on the job, my mother was always a pretty healthy cook as I was growing up, and when I came to the fire department, they would do things like take a perfectly good pan of tomato soup and add a stick of butter. Do you remember that? It's so gross. And I was like, stop putting stuff in the... Anyway, so the fire service has come a long way to eat healthier all the way around.
You're probably right. You're probably right. It is healthier, although the fettuccine sounds pretty good.
Listen, we've got some guys on the job that do some outstanding cooking. I am not that into cooking, but
Rita, we should have a firefighter. We should raise money and have a contest of sorts. And I know they do that up in Lawrence, and they have the cook-offs and
we used to have a chili
barbecue chili cook-offs.
Yeah.
But maybe around the circle and a real competition among the best of the best here.
The problem is we have a lot of competitions against our brothers and sisters in blue.
I know you do,
and we win them all. I mean, whether it's burgers,
it's just not fair.
Steaks, whether it's
not
chili,
even a competition.
I mean,
not
it's
fair.
just so we kind of let that go because we got tired of winning all the time.
Well, this would just be among departments.
Right.
Each of the departments within now compete. We will leave the boys in blue and the gals in blue.
The city of Los Angeles, I think they still do it. They have a day during the summer, and they have it right downtown in the business district, and each station has like a little outdoor booth.
That's so
and
fun.
it's a competition and fundraiser for the station.
We could do it.
So,
we could do that.
We could do it for firefighters' health. We could raise money for the whatever you all have, a foundation, I'll bet, or something.
We do. We have a cancer foundation. We have peer support efforts. You know, that's a big thing in the fire service today. And we could do it.
That's got Sullivan Hardware written all over it.
Sure does. Pat Sullivan, if you're listening.
Yeah, Pat, we're going to do this now. I've come up with another idea.
Yeah.
And it's a go. Listen, you guys, I'm so glad that you're here. Thank you for coming back to Indianapolis year after year with the conference, because we're so grateful to all of you. And I hope you feel a hero's welcome when you come to Indy. I hope you do, because y'all are. You really
family.
are. All right. Anything else? Anybody? Questions from the
I think we may have a new recruit.
Yeah,
I think so too. I don't want to be related to Dave. I don't want to be his family.
I think they would be a good family to be a part of.
You could be Step.
Hey, one more thing before we let you go. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. You just tell me. But normally, year after year, I think, don't you do a stair climb?
We do Friday,
and I think that's
in
open
Lucas
to
Oil
everybody.
Stadium.
Maybe.
Maybe
not.
I think you have to be registered for the conference.
Okay, but you guys raise money and you climb Lucas Oil.
Yep, they do the exact amount of stairs for the World Trade Center. So it's a lot of zigzagging back and forth, but they get them all in.
Isn't that
every
something?
step.
National Fallen Firefighters Foundation.
You going to do it,
Correct.
Rita?
Absolutely not.
We do provide moral support.
I know, right? It's not that I don't want to, but I just have so many other things going on.
She does, and I'll tell you what, Rita is one of these, is so involved in community and does so many things. I see her from time to time. Used to be on a pretty regular basis when we did it, but reading to kids with the Indiana Pacers and with their fun and entertainment foundation. And so, listen, Rita is very involved, and if she can't climb the stairs, she can't climb the stairs. It's okay.
I could, but, I support it.
This all is a really great experience, and if you want to follow along more, I do highly suggest following you guys on Facebook at FDIC and even Fire Engineering. You guys keep tabs on all of everything that's going on. It's a great journey in general, and even looking through the FDIC page, David, you paid it forward and presented Bill Quinn with a complimentary full conference pass because he was at the conference. He's been there 25 years.
Yep.
Crazy.
I gave away 20 of those.
20 of them.
Yep.
So there's more than one person that has gone 25.
No, I just, he was one that he got it because he'd been, but a lot of them I give away to folks that just can't afford to come.
Yeah.
And also
firefighters really aren't getting rich, are they?
No, absolutely not.
Not on the fire department side, for sure.
No, but that's how important this conference is for them. Can you finish off with the importance of this conference for all of the many firefighters that'll be coming to Indy for it?
So it kind of goes back to, we were talking about recruiting and military folks. Our theme this year for the training is mission, service, and purpose. And we're trying to not only give good education and teach these folks great tactics and skills, but we also want to take the opportunity to inspire them to want to serve the community. And then that service becomes their purpose. And instead of everybody blames everything on the next generation or the young generation, right? And so we hear from that young generation sometimes, oh, this isn't a career. This is just something. I just wanted to get the experience of being a firefighter. We want to inspire them to make it a career and give them purpose. So that is why you need to turn your application in as soon as possible.
And
I'm inspired. I'll be calling you, Kielynn, when IFD opens up their process.
Denny is Editor-in-Chief for Fire and Rescue Media and the Education Director for FDIC, Chief David Rhodes, along with our friend IFD Media Relations Battalion Chief Rita Reith. FDIC starts tomorrow here in town. 35,000 heroes here from all over the world. Make them feel welcome, as you normally do, Hoosiers. We appreciate you all so much. Thank you for what you do, and have a good conference.
Awesome. Thanks for having us again.
You betcha. All right, it's the first day. Denny Smith coming up next with Dollars and Cents 93 WIBC.
Another update is just minutes away.
you've got a friend in Denny.
Kielynn,
Hey, guess what?
Terri Lynn,
Yeah, I'm here.
yesterday,
Goodbye, Dave. Goodbye, Rita.
we're saying goodbye to our firefighters. You know, yesterday we were talking in the Home and Garden show about the tariffs and what it meant to Pat as a retailer. It is a high-stakes effort that's going on, and I didn't have all the research, but like every other weekend, Terri gives me one project that makes me do about 4 hours worth of research.
I always appreciate it.
But here's what it is. The United States of America is so indebted. The known debt is between $35 and $40 trillion. The unknown debt is probably north of $100 trillion. And what America's got to do is it's got to reset its industrial base, and it's got to renegotiate its standing in the global order. But we've got all this debt. And so what President Trump, and I'm sort of a Trump fan as a businessman, but I'm not a Trump fan about some of the clumsiness of the way he does things. But in this case, in 2025, the United States of America has to refinance $9.5 trillion. Now, if you think about that, that's a lot of money. And so what we're trying to do, from what I hear from the administration, is this is simple math. If we can drive down the price of the debt, then we've really got something going here. And you say, but what's that got to do with what the stock market did? The stock market just had an absolute diarrhea. I mean, it just melted down the last 3 days.
Clap up, boom.
It really went down. But here's some statistics that will help you. When people get out of stocks, where do they go? Terri?
I don't know.
You don't know?
When you get out of the stocks, when you say, I'm not playing the stocks anymore,
yeah.
I'm going to do something different with that money?
They will go to fixed debt. They will go to bonds. And so what's happened is all of this wealth that was in the stock market has all of a sudden driven down the interest rates in bonds because there's competition.
Oh.
They can sell as many bonds as they want, and so that drives down the interest rates. Well, here's a statistic for you that will really scare you.
Oh.
For each basis point, now a basis point is 1/100%. But for each basis point that goes down in interest, the government saves about $1 billion a year. So when they're driving down interest rates, which is what they're trying to do, Trump has been writing the Federal Reserve to lower rates, but they don't want to do it because of politics, I'm guessing. But what he has single-handedly done here is he has gone after the wealthy people. Now, I gave you a statistic this morning. This is kind of scary. 1% of all of the stocks are handled by approximately, the 1% of people in America own 54% of the stocks. So what he's done is he's saying, okay, I'm going to fight for the little guy. If I can lower interest rates, not only does the United States have half a chance of refinancing its debt, but that is going to flow right to the middle class and below. These statistics are scary. The top 10% of U.S. households own 93% of the stock. 93%. Wow. So what Trump is saying is that, look, I'm going to keep yields as low as I can until I can bully the Federal Reserve into lowering the rates. But how do you bring yields down? The only way you can do it is to hammer on stocks. And so this idea of bringing in tariffs is a way of sending a signal that, look, I'm serious about this. I'm going to use this as a negotiation, whether it's with Vietnam that we heard, whether it's with the French or with the English. But what they're trying to do, it's a counterintuitive move. I look at this and I say, this is three-dimensional chess. Everybody else is playing checkers, and Trump is trying to lower interest rates so he can refinance debt and at the same time energize the economy of the United States of America. Now, the ones that are really going to benefit are energy, steel. We've already seen.
Are going to benefit, you're saying.
Absolutely. Fort Wayne has already said they're going to hire, I don't know how many thousands of new people. There are a couple industries that really take it in the shorts.
Well, and what about Stellantis? I mean, they just let off, how many? 4,000
Yeah,
right
but
here
see,
in Kokomo?
they're focused overseas. And so part of their product is coming from overseas. But Doge and Elon Musk, they're going to probably save $4 billion a day in daily cuts. And by the time you put this all together, it's not to punish partners so much as it is to make domestic industry viable again. I'm going to give him a break. I want to see, do I want to see prices rise? No, I don't. But I know what the long-term gambit is, and it's to renegotiate debt, reestablish the United States of America as a world power, and rebuild our industry. And whether it's eggs, and there's another thing with the farmers. Farmers should do well domestically. They're going to lose a couple of markets, specifically with the Chinese.
Yeah,
but the Chinese are cutting off their own necks here. And I sort of like the idea of bringing our production back. You and I, Terry, we were talking about.
We've talked about how, when
drugs.
Pat talks about drugs, or even something as simple as like Christmas trees. Pat was talking about Christmas trees, and where those we don't manufacture Christmas trees here, so he's got to go overseas.
Exactly. And one last thing before we throw it back to Kielynn. This is not improvisation. This is not guessing. This is an absolute disruption by design. This is very well planned out.
I think we will talk about next week perhaps how it is affecting home builders, because the price of wood and steel and everything. We'll just find out. We'll talk, maybe have Greg and Lisa in. But we've got the news coming up next, and still another hour of the first day. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. News is next. 93 WIBC.
Wasn't it great having the firefighters?
Yep.
And
How
then
is it
Rita's.
already April?
I know.
April 6th. Oh my gosh, that's how I determine where I am in the calendar year. When FDIC comes in, I'm like, all right, ready to go.
Happy birthday, Jeff Smulyan.
Oh, is it Jeff's
Today's
birthday?
Jeff's birthday. Happy birthday, Snuffy Smith in heaven. And,
Happy birthday,
April
heavenly
6th, big day.
birthday for
And Art
Snuffy.
Vermillion, the guy that drew the Snuffy logo.
Yeah.
How about that?
Oh, I still see it in my head. I love it. That's Denny Smith. I'm Terri Stacy along with Kielynn Talley.
Whoop, whoop.
On this date in 1930, Twinkies go on sale for the first time.
Oh my gosh.
I love them. I can't. But you know what? It wasn't the original cream that we have today. Do you know what the cream filling was?
Whipped cream?
Banana.
Banana?
Really?
Uh-huh.
Banana paste or banana pudding?
Like a banana cream filling.
Wow.
It was, that's when they first came out. They were 2 for a nickel.
When we got into grade school in the late 50s, early 60s, you were really cool if you got a Hostess Twinkie or a cupcake or any. You were the coolest kid at lunch because everybody else just had peanut butter and jelly and, potato chips in a bag.
Twinkie.
If you had a Twinkie, you were cool.
I just still love them to this day. They don't taste the same to me that they did when we were a kid, but I feel that way about all the Hostess products. They don't taste exactly
Well, they
like
say
they
that's what's going to be left after a nuclear holocaust. You dig them up 100 years, you can eat them.
Bo Rayleigh tells me there's one sitting on a shelf that's like 107 years old, although that can't be. But he says it's very old and it's still sitting there and it looks
I know you're
edible.
not a man and you're not stupid, but the big bet between men is if you find an old can of sardines, they dare each other to eat it.
Yeah. Property taxes were front and center on Friday. And this is what we learned now. Republican House Speaker Todd Houston says a majority of Hoosiers will see a property tax bill in 26 less than 25. How much less is still the question. The House's version of Senate Bill 1 will save a majority of Hoosiers $1.1 billion collectively in property taxes over 3 years.
That's not enough.
The House version, SB 1, would give all Hoosiers a property tax credit of 7.5% of their property tax bill up to $200. Seniors get an additional $150 credit, and disabled veterans receive an extra $250.
They're trying to buy us off, Terri Lynn. My taxes went up 12.5% last year, and I'm as bad as Casey Daniels in that over 3 years. They're trying to buy us off with something, and they're going to get smacked.
Well, they're going to meet again tomorrow. Lawmakers on the House Ways and Means Committee are expected to look at that House bill, that House version of SB 1, and likely vote on it tomorrow. What do you think about that?
I don't know. If they tell us that inflation is 2 to 4% and our property taxes are going up double digits, they can go pound sand. I mean, they're even making old people mad now. Gosh.
Everything is making me mad, and I am an old person. Oh, my gosh.
Just get off my lawn already.
I know, Kielynn. I know. And Kielynn hears me grumpy about the blue line every time I'm with her because I make that route every day, and now they're cutting down trees along Washington Street to our east, and I'm just
Did you ever think
frustrated.
we'd become the blue-haired old ladies that were driving
I don't know why.
20 mile an hour?
The weirdest things that make me mad. But this is how about we go to this? A woman whose tongue measures 3.8 inches long from the tip to her lips loves that it causes people shock. She made it in the news this week with her long tongue, 3.8 inches.
What do you do with something like that? Is she a giraffe? What? 3 what inches?
Chanel, and she's from California. She's 34 years old, and she now holds the record again for the longest female tongue in the world. She's held it since 2010.
What's the longest male tongue? If there's a different category.
Usually people who have really long tongues have speech impediments because they can't get their tongue is so crammed in there.
That's a very good point.
Yeah, that made it in the news. Also, I want to mention that our friends at Indy Humane, they were supposed to have a mutt strut yesterday and did not because of the weather, but they were, like so many of you up in that Carmel area. Oh, by the way, I hate to mention this. I got off track, but did anybody get tricked on April Fool's Day?
Oh my gosh, I'm still getting tricked. I can't trust anything on social media now. Thank you to April Fool's Day. Every time I see it, I'm like, is this an old post? I don't know.
believe Sullivan put a picture of me in his...
did he really?
It was a great one.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah, it was.
It's always funny to somebody else who's not the victim of Pat Sullivan. But Sully said they were having a big party on White River and everything.
Well, Carmel put out that they were building a tiered roundabout. that this was in the plans, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is the most giant! It's tall. It's like
As
it's
if
like
they're not
it looks like a
confusing it
Hot
all.
Wheels track, all the way up to the top." And I seriously, I looked at
You
that, and it did
didn't
not
believe
surprise
it.
me. I mean, I was like, "Oh my gosh!" Well, it doesn't surprise me. Maybe this is what they're going to do. It's 3 levels, 3 tiers of a roundabout. It was
Plumbers are a
That
little bit
one
more
did get
simple than
me.
that. Plumbers
That
do
one
things
did
like
get me.
put salt in people's coffee, and so then they make a fresh pot, and then we put a whole bunch of salt in the pot. And so, that's a
Well,
April Fool's joke right
that
there.
one did get me for a minute.
Yeah.
What was I saying about Indy Humane? They need your help when it comes to cleanup because, like so many in Carmel, that's where it led to. It was so many in Carmel that found a lot of destruction in their neighborhoods. So did Indy Humane at 79th and
They need
Michigan. So
fence
next
builders.
week
They
they need
need
fence
fence
builders. They do. If you can help them out, get in touch, indyhumane.org. But next Saturday they're going to have a cleanup and hope that the community will come out and help clean up some of the trails and things so that their mutts can strut. Over there at Indy Humane. They're adoptables. We do need to take a break, I do believe. We got to get to a break, but coming up, the Broadway tour of Beetlejuice, the musical. It makes a stop in Indy this week, and one of the lead actors we will talk to, Sarah Litzsinger, will join us next to talk about her role as Delia. As we continue with the first day on 93 WIBC.
Life moves.
Delia, do you need to lie down?
No, I just need to daylight come.
I can't wait to see this in person.
What
She's
is
so
this?
excited. This is Beetlejuice.
Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice.
Beetlejuice, the North American tour of Beetlejuice. It starts, and it's huge. It's at Clues Hall, April 8th through the 13th. Tickets are available at BroadwayInIndianapolis.com. And joining us now, Terri, Denny, and Kielynn. Joining us on the phone is actress Sarah Litzsinger. Sarah, hi!
Hi. Thanks for having me.
Listen, I'm so glad to get a chance to talk to you. You grew up where?
I grew up in Carmel.
You grew up in Carmel, Indiana?
I did. Yep. Went to Carmel High School. Went to Clay Junior High and Carmel Junior High for my freshman year before the freshman broke at the high school.
I'm so excited that we get to steal you back to the Hoosier State for just a moment as you perform here. Oh my God.
Well, what's it? I know you're about to get here, and are you already here?
No, I'm in Wichita, Kansas right now, but we will be there next week, the 8th through Sunday, April 13th.
Okay, just wanted to see where you were on this planet, and it's got to be good to come home. You still have family here?
I do. My mom lives in Carmel. My brother, sister-in-law, niece, nephew, cousins.
Oh, boy.
A lot of family members.
I know.
So they're all coming to the show.
Oh, thank goodness they are. Surely you're busy with the show, too. Do you get time to go out and visit them or go experience some of the Indiana things that you love?
I will during the week. We do evening shows only, so I'll be able to go to Basbo's Pizza and get my pizza, my creamy basil salad dressing, and walk on the Monon. So that'll be fun.
That's so cool. Sarah Litzsinger is with us. She's here for the North American tour of Beetlejuice the Musical. Stops in Indy April 8th through the 13th at Clues Memorial Hall, we'll mention. Tell everybody about your performance and your role in Beetlejuice.
Well, I played Delia, who is played by Catherine O'Hara in the original 1988 movie. I mean, she's so iconic. So it's such a fun part. And the musical, the characters in the musical are a little bit more fleshed out than the original movie. So you kind of get to see a little bit more about the characters. And Delia in the musical has been hired to be a life coach for Lydia Dietz. And she's kind of not the best life coach, but she's trying really hard.
Is the show much like what we have seen on film?
It is. It is. It just delves a little bit deeper into the family aspect. And, of course, you have amazingly funny songs to accompany the script. And it's super fun. It's a nice, fun roller coaster ride. I would say that this musical, I always call it's the gateway musical. It might be for people that might not necessarily be into musicals. My nephew came to see the show, and he goes to Purdue University, and he was like, Aunt Sarah, this show's really funny. I was like, okay, yeah, well, he's not into musicals, and he likes it. So.
That's awesome. Kielynn?
Sarah, do you remember the first time you watched the movie Beetlejuice?
I don't remember the first time, but I do remember being a fan of it, and you know, it's a classic movie. It's funny because I haven't rewatched it since I've been playing the role, but I'm a fan of Catherine O'Hara, so I feel like my Delia has a few nods to her, and she's just so funny. So hopefully I'm filling those shoes.
I love it. Do you love comedy?
I do. I mean, I love drama as well, but I think, you know, being a part of this show is super fun because the audiences are so engaged, and we have a lot of fans that come dressed like they're in cosplay.
Oh, that's cool.
And it's really cool. And you see tons of, you know, black and white stripes out there and people wearing the Lydia outfits, and that part's really cool too. But I also think it's a great musical too because there are a lot of parents that are my age, I think, that are fans of the movie, and then they're bringing their kids, too. So we have a wide demographic.
Kielynn, I don't know if you've seen all the things that she's done. She's talking about this role of Delia in Beetlejuice, but Beauty and the Beast, we're talking about Broadway. She was Belle.
Yeah.
But if I may, if I kind of jump around a little bit, because one of my favorites is Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, and you did it with Donny Osmond. I mean, you didn't do it with Donny Osmond, but the show was with Donny Osmond, and she was the narrator. How about that?
That is awesome.
I love that. I love that show. And you too, obviously, because you were in it for so long. What was it like being a part of that show and with Donny Osmond?
Oh, I mean, Donnie is an absolute gem of a person, so it was really, really fun. I remember we did the sound check of the show. It's called a sitz probe when you sing with the orchestra for the first time, and I was a replacement as the narrator, and so it was my first time meeting Donnie at the sitz probe, and I, as the narrator, I sing the first, you know, lyrics in the show, and I got up to the mic to sing, and I forgot the words.
Oh, no!
I was sort of like gobsmacked, but because I had a Donnie and Marie Barbie doll, you know, Barbie dolls when I was a kid. So, I mean, I was a huge fan. And I was just like so starstruck.
Oh my
and
gosh.
he was like, no, you're fine. Absolutely. I was like, okay, I'm so sorry. I need to start again.
You can tell.
Super fun.
You can tell how old I am because that's the one I picked when I picked you. When I told her, and she worked, and she was with Donny Osmond. You can tell how old I am.
I have something more fun for you though, because I am the longest running Belle in Beauty and the Beast, but I am married to the original Gaston in Beauty and the Beast.
Oh I don't even know what to say.
Yeah.
You're living a fairy tale.
Oh my!
Well, I married the villain.
Well,
so.
that's a good point.
But that is really cool. And that obviously you met doing the show, yes?
No, we didn't meet doing a show. We actually met right after 9/11. They got all the Broadway people together to film this commercial. Right after 9/11, they put us all in costume, and my husband at the time was playing the lead in Kiss Me Kate on Broadway, and I was Belle, but he had already done Beauty and the Beast. So we met in Times Square in costume, and he was like, oh, I just remember you, wearing the blue dress and walking past the theater and seeing the picture out there. And that's kind of how we met. But then years later, we got together.
That's great.
A real life princess.
What a great story. Oh my gosh. Did you do something special for the wedding? Did you do any kind of something when you got married that kind of took from the show?
No, we didn't. No, we're lame.
No, you're not. No, you're not. Everybody may have expected that, so you may have surprised him by doing something different. We should mention that this is Sarah Litzsinger, and she's Delia in the Broadway tour that is stopping here in Indianapolis at Clues Memorial Hall, April 8th through the 13th. And you can get your tickets right now at Clues, or you can go to BroadwayAcrossAmerica.com. I do believe. Wait a minute. Nope. I'm going to change that. It's BroadwayInIndianapolis.com. You can get your tickets there. This is going to be a big one if you haven't already got your tickets. I'm guessing tickets are starting to go pretty quick. So make sure you get those. Yeah, they are. And Kielynn, I'm sorry. I've been kind of hogging the conversation.
I would like to know about your background. You obviously started at Carmel High School. Did you always have that dream of going to Broadway from your time here in Indiana?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And Clues Hall actually holds a special place in my heart because when I was 6 years old, my parents got me the record of Annie and then got me, for a Christmas present, they took me to see Annie at Clues Hall. And that was the first, Broadway production I had ever seen. And I remember just being so mesmerized. And I didn't want to leave my seat during intermission. And I just was like, I have to be up there. I have to do that. Wow. So that was sort of like I guess, I don't know if it's a turning point, but just sort of where I got bitten by the showbiz bug, and I just knew that I had to do it. So I'm really excited to actually be performing on that stage. It's kind of like a full circle moment for me.
That's so cool. You have a dream role that you dream about?
It's funny because I feel like I've played all the dream roles that I've had, which is I feel really fortunate. But there are always more roles out there being created, and so hopefully it's something in the future. We'll see.
Yeah. Heck, Kielynn is a young actress. For those that are young and this is their passion too, and they're hoping to make it to Broadway, can you talk about how difficult that is?
As you know, Kielynn, it takes so much work, and you really do have to put in, what is that saying where people say you have to put in 10,000 hours to be good at something? And I really think that's true. You just have to put, your nose to the grindstone and work at it and hustle. And you have to be willing to hear no a lot before you hear yes. And so I think, for people that are looking to get into it, it's just stick with it. Just keep doing it. Keep hustling. And because you will hear yes after the many no's.
I think that's good advice. The North American tour of Beetlejuice the Musical. This is at Clues Memorial Hall. Get your tickets right now at BroadwayInIndianapolis.com.
Sarah, I'd like you to say what your favorite thing about Beetlejuice. Why should people come see it because of this one thing?
Because it's a roller coaster ride of nonstop laughs, but it also has heart, which is what makes the show so great. So come see us.
Sarah Litzsinger, thank you and congratulations on all your accomplishments. We can't wait to see you. Thank you so much for your time, Sarah.
Thanks so much.
You're amazing.
1225,
Absolutely
our hometown
iconic
girl.
And,
pretty cool.
Playing the iconic Catherine O'Hara role, man, I'm excited to see how she does as Delia. But I'm also intrigued to see how the actor portraying Beetlejuice will do in comparison to Michael Keaton in the movie.
Yeah, me too. It'll be good.
Very curious.
A lot of tickets have been sold. There's still some left.
they're
Hope you
going.
can get them. Broadway in Indianapolis.com for tickets. All right, we're going to take a break. Coming up, we've got some financial aid news for you from our friend Bill Wozniak. We'll do that after today's top stories coming up next on 93 WIBC. Premier Deck Coating, the ultimate deck protection.
a wealthy man, I wouldn't have to work at all. I'd fool around and have a ball.
Heck, get myself a wealthy man? Then I wouldn't have to worry about anything? Well, that's not the case. Welcome back to First Day. 93 WIBC, Kielynn Talley, Terri Stacy, Denny Smith. Let's save some money, shall we? Because it's not easy to come by. Denny knows that, right? Yeah? Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially on student debt.
3 in 5 Hoosiers say that the process for paying for college is confusing.
Uh-huh.
And Kielynn, you know, it wasn't that long ago
I went
for you.
through it. Yep.
Well, and right now there are a lot of uncertainty about student loans, and we've got somebody here that can really talk about this stuff. We've been talking to him for a lot of years. Bill Wozniak is here, Invested Vice President and Chief Marketing Officer. How are you, sir?
I'm wonderful.
Tell us about Invested. What is that?
So Invested is a not-for-profit here in Indiana that goes all the way back to 1980, over 40 years. And we've been helping students in all the different ways with how to fund post-secondary education. And as the world has changed, we've had to change so that we're able to meet the needs of Hoosiers and that whole post-secondary education funding thing.
Kielynn, we were saying, Kielynn, it wasn't that long ago when you were talking about and getting ready for college. What did you find confusing?
I think typically it's a lot of the deadlines and what is expected from us. Yes, it's all laid out, but with this on top of all of the schoolwork and everything, it can be overwhelming, especially trying to find a college in general and then trying to look for some student aid to go with it. Bill, with this survey, how do you think Indiana residents truly do feel about post-secondary education along with the student aid process?
With all the changes, the interesting part over years and years of us doing surveys, the Hoosiers' view of post-secondary education has been very strong. And so there's a value seen, and families and students say, I can understand why that's something that's important. The other part that hasn't changed a lot is whether the FAFSA was done on paper or then it moved online, or you were transferring your taxes, or there were different type of student loan repayment programs or forgiveness programs. What has not changed is how do I know that I can get the aid that I would like to get? How do I go about that? How do I file this form? And as you just said, what are the deadlines? There's deadlines for different schools, different times. There's the state FAFSA priority deadline. What is the deadline for federal items? And with so many different types of aid and all these different things, families just get confused and they have questions, understandably.
This may be a stupid question, but with this administration, and we're watching what's happening with cuts everywhere, is there anything, when it comes to student loans, anything been affected or some uncertainty there at all?
So there's no stupid questions in financial aid. They're all good financial aid. And as we say at the over 1,000 events we do at high schools every year, once somebody asks a question, then everybody gets going. So we love when somebody asks the question. But
Thank you, Bill.
Absolutely. You bring up, obviously, something that is making our phones ring and all of that. And there's a real important distinction I think we need to get out there. So there is the current process, the FAFSA filing, getting ready for the fall. Somebody's heading off to Purdue. Somebody's heading off to IU. There's that part of it. And that part of it, the FAFSA is actually working better than it did a year ago. There are definitely folks that remember last year, the form just was completely shut down for long periods of time. So we don't have that issue this year. So when you're going to file the FAFSA form is working most of the time. The inputting of information is going smoother than it did a year ago. And as people are getting ready for the fall, we don't want anybody to walk away from financial aid, to walk away from the FAFSA, to walk away from the process. That is all moving forward. The part where in the news we've seen over the last few weeks and couple months, the repayment options, the types of income-based repayment plans for those that have graduated, those that have been repaying for a while, those particular programs and the terms of some of those programs are what is being battled out in the courts right now. Decisions are coming down. Can this be counted? Can this be forgiven? What percent of my income do I have to pay for this? this is where we really get into the weeds, and when families call us, we're able to walk through what is the latest as of today. But the getting ready for the fall part is one thing, and then the repayment of federal loans part is kind of another right now.
Okay.
Within the survey, they value education beyond high school, but they often don't know what resources are available to limit that student loan debt. Like you had mentioned, there's many different avenues you can go. There's the federal way, and then there are some other resources.
Oh, absolutely. And the first part, just going right to the very, very beginning, when we work with families or we do a presentation at a school, we immediately go to the net price. Sticker price is one thing. So we always want to know, what is that net price? So maybe the sticker price of a school is $50,000 or $30,000 or whatever. But what we want people to be able to focus on is the net price. What is that net price? And so the first thing we do is we say, okay, for your family, it looks like the net price is going to be X. And that immediately gets the first question from the family saying, wait a minute, how did half of the cost disappear? And that's where we then zoom in on, if you file the FAFSA, maybe you're eligible for the Pell Grant. Oh, well, I did file the FAFSA, but I'm not eligible for the Pell Grant. Okay. Then we go, are you a 21st Century Scholar family, right? In Indiana, we have the 21st Century Scholars Grant. Maybe that's a yes, maybe that's a no. Okay. Then we move on. Maybe that family gets O'Bannon Grant money. Then there's other scholarships, right, to become a nurse, or, different fields have their own things, or maybe from fast food chains and stuff like that. But then the big part that gets omitted often is, what does the college, what does the school offer? And so when families file that FAFSA, when they apply to the college, and then they get that award letter, and people call us all the time, they're holding their award letter. What do these 28 lines mean? And when we walk through the lines, different grant programs that are much smaller than the Pell Grant program or the O'Bannon Grant program, we go through these lines and say, okay, you're getting $1,000 for this, you're getting $3,000 from the school, you're getting $4,000 for this. And the FAFSA is that gateway getting into all these programs that I just mentioned, and there's even more. And so that's why we focus so much on understand the net price so people can know what they're working towards. And don't think ahead of time, I'm not getting anything, because that's the wrong mindset. In most cases, people do.
Okay. You mentioned the Frank O'Bannon Grant and the 21st Century Scholar. I saw that the deadlines for that are coming up April 15th. Do you have any advice for families that are looking to do that and get that application in?
No question. So the deal here is you have to file the FAFSA in Indiana by April 15th to meet the state priority deadline for the Indiana grant programs. So April 15, we're not missing it. We are filing by April 15. And guess what? Our phones ring a lot on April 14. So if you want to get a quicker answer, call on the 10th or the 9th or the 8th. Or I have a better idea, call today.
Yeah. Bill, where's the best place for people, students or families, to go to access these resources and help?
InvestedIndiana.org, investedindiana.org. There's the Contact Us page, and our phone number is 317-715-9007. People just call us. The experts are standing by, completely free help of all this stuff, and we're happy to help you out.
We sure do appreciate you, Bill, for all the years that you've been helping with financial aid and more. Bill Wozniak, Invested Vice President and Chief Marketing Officer. Thank you, my friend. We'll talk again soon.
I hope so. Great talking to you guys.
You too. 1242, Terri Stacy, Denny Smith, and Kielynn Talley coming up. Kielynn's got food news.
Whoop, whoop.
There's no food, Denny.
Whoop, whoop. Yeah. What?
Yeah,
There's
we do.
no phone.
We have donuts, Terry.
Well, I did bring the pan of donuts, but there's nothing.
Well, what was the
We
whoop,
have a lot
whoop
of
about?
celebrations.
Well,
Don't you worry.
She was excited.
All right.
Whoop,
Whoop, whoop.
I'm going to have to come over there.
Whoop on me. Whoop, whoop.
Before we take a break again, remember, we're having a good time in here. Yes, for sure. But I know a lot of you are cleaning up and you're doing a lot of work, and the flooding is still everywhere. So please be careful while you're out there. We'll keep you up to date all day long here at 93 WIBC. I would love to mention that if you love bingo, I've got Purse Bingo coming up.
You have what coming up?
Purse Bingo. It's officially called Bags of Hope, and it's put on by the Salvation Army Women's Auxiliary. You know all those wonderful people.
You mean how much? Did you find this in your purse? Bingo.
No.
Yeah.
No, but that would be so funny. You know what? Here's what's also funny. What's in your coat pocket? I pulled out this morning 3 dog treats and 2 poop bags. Anyway,
So
in my purse.
You're one poop bag short.
It's not as cool as the genie.
You
but
pick it up with your
we'll
fingers
take it.
after that.
First bingo. It's officially called Bags of Hope, but it is put on by our friends at the Salvation Army, the Women's Auxiliary. It's a fundraiser for the Salvation Army. It's coming up. I'm going to be your bingo caller for the evening. It's April 25th at 6:30 at the Salvation Army headquarters in Castleton. Chance to win designer purses by Coach and Kate Spade and Michael Kors and Vera Bradley. A lot more too. It's super fun. I've done it for a few years. The purses are gorgeous, and we hope you'll come out. $30 donation for 10 games. Go to salvationarmyindiana.org and look for Bags of Hope. We've got coming up food news after the break on 93 WIBC.
Matt Bear knows how to
describe Terri so perfectly.
Oh, but
That's
it's
really good. Good
Sunshine
job,
in the
Kai.
room. Oh
my gosh.
Well, I truly
That's
believe
so
that.
sweet.
First day, look at that. The sky's coming out. The sun's coming out. The sky is brighter. It was gloomy when we started.
It's brighter though.
Are you a witch? Did you make that happen?
She's a
that's,
good witch.
That's really good.
My precious.
She's a good witch. Are you doing any acting right now?
I just got done with a 13-hour shoot yesterday.
Did you?
I sure did.
She's very superstitious. Are we allowed to know anything about this film?
Well, sure. This is part of an indie film with some of our local film community here in Indy.
Okay.
And we are filming a coming of age of bank robbers. a family of bank robbers. I'm the daughter. I'm one of the daughters.
Do you get a gun?
No, I don't like guns.
But if you're going to be a bank robber, what are you going to do?
I'm the
Threaten them
getaway
with your
driver.
purse?
She's the getaway driver.
I do. I pick cars.
That's so fun.
Do the whole little thing. It is really fun, and it's been fun to get to know more people throughout the community as we go. And it's just
not
a fun
comedy.
little promise. I mean, there are some funny parts in it.
If you're a bank robber.
Did you film around Indianapolis?
Yep.
Are you filming in the night? Oftentimes they film in the night.
It's been a little bit of both. There are some home scenes. There are some scenes out in the... Yeah, it's a little bit of both.
Did you knock off a liquor store or a bank? What, did you really rob something?
It follows the process of setting up our next job.
Oh, I see.
If you'll
I see what
take
you're doing.
that
I
at
see,
least.
You're so
She robs a coffee shop. She robs... what's the other one? A hair salon.
She's the least likely person you'd ever think would be a robber.
I know.
I know. Doesn't that make it so perfect, though?
Well, it does.
Anyways, enough about me. Let's talk about someone else who's really cool. Can we?
All right,
Our
sure.
beloved Kielynn Clark. Is that? I mean,
Yeah.
there's no comparison. Oh,
Right.
man. But she's a Hoosier too now. Can we call her that?
I think so. She's pretty involved
If
in
we
the
can
community.
call Tony Katz a Hoosier, we can call Caitlin.
Good point. Good point.
Another lovely, iconic Hoosier place, Long's Bakery, will be featured in David Letterman's new episode of My Guest Needs No Introduction with Kielynn Clark, and that episode is going to be released this Tuesday. And I wanted to share this little tease. Have you guys seen the tease that they dropped? All right, well, here's just a little piece of it.
Okay.
Do that this year, though.
Do you have to win everything like a Christmas card game, Monopoly? You got to win.
Well, I want to.
You got to win Halloween. You can bring
I
home
know
the
I
most
can't
candy.
win every time, but I loved Halloween. So when we trick-or-treated in Des Moines growing up, and I would be like so sweaty under my costume because I was in a dead sprint from house to house. Like I had to have the most candy. Like that's how I operated, and my dad would completely lose me in the neighborhood, and I would show back up at home, and my mom would be there giving out candy, and my mom would get pissed at my dad. It's like, why did you lose our daughter? Why is she running through the neighborhood by herself? But it was because I was just trying to beat everybody.
Wow. So you're still like that?
Well, I don't trick or treat anymore.
That's so good.
She's so stinking cute. I
wish we could get her to come in and talk to us and just hang out with us for an hour.
It was awesome having her on the fan.
Oh, man.
Just a little bit.
She's
great.
She is great. It makes me wonder how, I've been thinking about, so obviously tomorrow, championship game, right? NCAA and for men's basketball.
Mm-hmm.
And I was wondering if anybody's paying attention to the females, the women's NCAA.
Theirs today.
Because I have not, and it's because Caitlin's not there. So I didn't do my part in continuing to follow women's basketball because she's not a part of it. But to be truthful, I'm not even sure who's playing tomorrow in the men's. I know Florida made it in the
Florida and UConn.
And UConn, okay.
And I would be pulling for Houston, but I don't like Sampson. I'm sorry.
Well, the ratings, the numbers are down a little bit for viewership of the games. There wasn't a Cinderella story. My husband tried to explain to me this is because of some sort of portal that allows only the best of the best to be right, and the NIL, right, Kielynn?
The whole thing.
The whole thing. And so there wasn't many, or if any, Cinderella stories this year.
Was he mansplaining?
Yes, he was.
You busted my chops for mansplaining in front of company.
That's because she has
Golly.
she has practice.
I know she was busting me.
It is so funny when we have guests. It is like we get ready for it.
Don't
We
tell all
clean
the
the
family
room.
secrets.
We bring donuts.
Make sure the headphones
and then
are
after they
perfect and
leave,
pristine.
we're like, did they leave any food? We get it's. And we
was
kinda
just
relax.
Rita.
Family.
Oh,
There's
my
still
gosh.
visitors is like family when they're coming to your house. All right, it's time for food news, Kielynn. Are you ready?
Always ready.
Okay.
I was born ready.
Okay.
How about that?
We're ready.
Okay.
Denny and I are sitting back.
I do
Here we
want to
go.
have some celebrations for this. Are we cool with that? Some celebrations?
Yeah.
I'm good.
All right, let's go. What are we
Because
celebrating?
An Indiana chef is now the reigning world noodle champion. What about that?
Whoa, noodle champion? I thought you were going to talk about Cunningham Restaurant Group.
He's from the Cunningham Restaurant Group.
But he's
How
not
about that?
But I
He's
didn't
the
see any
noodle man.
noodles.
Chef Colin Hilton.
He is the noodle guy?
He is. He is the noodle guy now. He went and competed at the World Food Championships. You guys remember that
I
came?
do.
Yeah,
this
and then his
last
sous
fall?
chef was Joni Maines.
And he moved on and faced off against 11 of the world's top culinary talents in this noodle category, right? They had a whole showdown, and he was the one who won. And guess what the prize was?
I don't know.
$150,000.
$1,000.
That's great.
He was just noodling around.
And it's for the noodles because he's a great noodle guy. Wonder
Just
what the
because he's
noodle
that
dish
great.
was that he won with.
Maybe he can make some for us.
I'd like it.
I would reach out. I'll reach out to Joni because she's one of the best pastry chefs in the world.
Then you think they'd bring us some noodles and pastries?
What, do you want the content or do you want the food?
Well, I'd like to try one of his noodles.
Whoa.
I mean, I'd like to try the winning noodle for sure, but that may be too much. But I'd like to try a noodle that he's created.
Only Terri Stacy can get away with this. Only Terri
would be
Stacy
so
can get away
good.
with this.
That's so funny.
Okay, so congratulations.
Some
I'm
other
celebrating.
celebrations.
Go ahead.
St. Elmo's, they just had their 1933 lounge opened up in Carmel.
Yeah.
Love it.
A lot
it's
of good
a
reviews.
Huge corner space.
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
Greg
and of
Cooper
course,
went
elegant.
to that one.
Yes, it was wonderful. They had some grilled slab bacon and it had a root beer maple glaze. What do you think about that?
Love it.
Sounds really good.
Wild.
Kind of a little sweet glaze.
There's a donut there.
Personally,
Oh, there is a donut
personally,
there.
I loved their liquid love affair drink. It was dangerously good. Wouldn't have known.
Did you get liquored up?
Oh my gosh, I only had one drink. I didn't. I don't know what's happened. But
I don't know.
it went down quick.
All right.
Okay. Let's get into some other stuff. Happy baseball season.
Yes, it's baseball season. Oh.
Carl Erskine.
Yeah, I was going to say, is this Carl? God rest his soul.
Such a wonderful person.
A good human being, for sure.
The sports really don't stop. You're almost done with basketball, and here we are, ready
Yeah.
to get into it.
Indians have already started their season.
They do, and they're playing a game right now. Kids Eat Free Day on Sundays.
They're still doing that again this year?
All
Good.
children 14 and under receive a free hot dog, bag of chips, and a Prairie Farm milk. And today, Denny, guess what? Today's their Sunday character day. You're going to love this one. They have the princesses there.
Oh.
You can bring your pretty princess dress.
Terri, come on. What is so? I can't get any respect from Terri, and now you're busting me up about my pink princess dress?
It's okay to have a princess
I don't
dress.
think you wanted
Everyone
people to
deserves
know
to be
about
pretty.
that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I wish.
No more mansplaining for you.
I wish the princesses did a first pitch. That'd be really cool.
It would be cool. Don't know who's doing it, but it'd be nice if they did.
Do you
One
know
of
what
them did.
temperature it is right now?
About
If you get over there
42,
really,
45
really
degrees.
quick, you might make the first pitch. And if it's under 60 degrees for
Let's
the
see.
first pitch,
I'm looking.
that means you get a free ticket for another game.
45
in April.
degrees.
Yeah,
45.
45 degrees.
Booyah. There's a free ticket to a baseball
Right
game.
now?
Did you say
Okay.
booyah?
Yeah,
did.
if you went to the game and it was cold, then you get another one. We'll talk more about it. How about next food news?
Oh,
we'll
is it time for
We'll
us to
have an
go?
Indians person come in.
With
we
hot
still have a
dogs.
minute, but yeah, she'll come in and give you all the details for it. Today is also National Acai Bowl Day. If you want to go get an acai bowl, the Tropical
Denny,
Smoothie
do you know
Cafe.
what that is?
I know it's high in antioxidants, but I
It's
don't.
very healthy. $5 off of
Acai.
I don't know
one.
how to pronounce the word.
Acai.
Acai.
Oh, well, I mean, hey, that sounds fun. Acai. Anyways.
I think it's acai.
Yeah. If you'd like another deal, Dairy Queen is celebrating their 85th birthday with 85-cent blizzards.
Ooh, that's a good deal.
I know.
That's a keeper.
With
I
the
like
$1
that one.
purchase, you have to be a member, but that's okay.
Okay.
We'll take it. The stupid inflation. Last year was 84 cents. Why do we have to make it 85-cent blizzards? Come
I don't know.
on.
But I do wish you all a happy New Beer's Eve.
Yes.
Tomorrow is National Beer Day, so it's called New Beer's Day.
There's always
or New
something to
Beer's Eve.
celebrate, guys.
We gotta go.
I'll
Thanks
miss
for
you
joining
guys.
us today.
Have a good week,
Thanks, Denny
everybody.
Paul. Thank you,
bet.
Kielynn. Thanks, IFDC. Bye.
Hey guys, it's Rob. It's hard to believe we're already a fourth.